SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. We have a really good show today. In the first half of the show, we're going to be talking with the mayor-elect of the city of Ocean Springs, Kenny Holloway. And in the second segment, we're going to be talking to the mayor-elect from the city of Pass Christian, Jimmy Rafferty. But before we go to the mayor-elect of the city of Ocean Springs, I'd like to share a couple of quick quotes with you, and then we'll move on over to Kenny. So here we go. Here's one from Al Capone. Be careful who you call your friends. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I kind of like that one. That's a good one. And this was sort of kind of matches that one, but it's really good advice. It takes so much energy to lie. I wish people could grasp the sense of freedom and liberation that comes with being honest and genuine. There's so much to be said for just being honest and genuine. You know, typically people really pick up on authenticity. So if you're not being authentic, you know, people will figure that out. So, you know, give that some thought. It's something to think about. So anyway, well, you know, all across coastal Mississippi, we have so many new mayors. And in the case of Jackson County, for example, all of the cities have new mayors, and we'll be having all of them on the show in the next couple of weeks. Looking forward to chatting with every single one of them. Today, though, Kenny Holloway and Jimmy Rafferty have the unique distinction of being on the show the day before they take office. And so without any further ado, let's move over to my friend who I've known for quite some time, Kenny Holloway, the mayor-elect of the city of Ocean Springs. Kenny, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Ricky. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Well, look, we didn't have the opportunity to chat like maybe we would normally do prior to the show, so I'll just ask you what I would ask you if we were on the phone together. And that, so just kind of to start out with, and we've talked at least one time since you were elected, so congratulations again. Has it been like drinking from a fire hose?
It's been rapid, I'll say that. Yes. I got to say that Mayor Dobson and the City Hall staff up there have been very welcoming to me. I've been sitting in on staff meetings for about the last month, just different directors' meetings, even some of the meetings that aren't fun, some of the controversial meetings, you know, which we had a couple of those going on yesterday with a large oak tree on the beach. So, but they've been very, very welcoming, and I appreciate that. And, you know, they're bringing me up to speed. So that'll be good. So we can hit the ground running day one.
I had Cynthia Sutton on the show last week. She's such a great representative of the tourism voice in the city and the chamber, and she's on the show often. And she's enjoying, the team there is enjoying working with you, and you know, getting ready, so to speak. And I mentioned to her while we had her on the phone that I remember a specific photo that was taken recently, and it's when Joe Cloyd opened the Hemingway in downtown. Thank God we have investors like Joe, I might add, who's making all these incredible investments across the city. But what made that photo special to me was who was in the photo. So you had the current mayor and you there and others, you know, I think maybe some former councilmen, some incoming councilmen. But you got a sense from looking at this photograph, particularly as it related to you two mayors, that there was such an orderly passing of the baton. And that's sort of the way it's been, hasn't it?
It has been. You know, Shay and I have talked quite a bit here in the last 6 weeks, and you know, different topics. Why I ran for mayor, why he decided not to run for mayor. Shay's a smart young man. He really is, and he's got a great opportunity ahead of him in whatever he decides to do. But it's been very orderly, and I was in there this morning for a few minutes, and you know, hey, what you doing? Come on in, sit down. You know, talking about different things that are going on. So he's still engaged till, you know, and when I need to get some information from him, you know, going back in the past 4 years, you know, it won't be an issue to call him up and get some good feedback from him.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've had Shay on the show many times talking about many different issues, and he has, I get the impression, obviously, that he knows what he's talking about. He has his opinion about things. He's smart about the way he expresses his point of view. He may not always agree with him, but the reality is he's done his homework, and that makes a big difference. It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, yesterday he was in Jackson. He's tied into that medical marijuana thing pretty big, and he was up there, doing some lobbying, and I think he's going to, venture off into that, and he's going to get his real estate license. And I told him I'm going to need some help, managing my real estate company, and that I'm not going to be able to put a lot of time into. So he's gonna get licensed, and I think he's going to help me in that area a little bit too.
Oh, well, good. That's terrific. That's really terrific to hear that. When you think about the city, as you and I discussed before, the city is really in touch with what it is. I mean, there's a good sense of this sense of place that Ocean Springs has created. Now, there may be different points of view about how to maintain that sense of place and have development going forward. But that's one of the things that makes this city such a unique city, that there's so many people involved in the democratic process. You mentioned a couple of meetings you went to last day or two. People want to have a voice in the way things are going in the city, and that's pretty clear every time, say, a controversial decision comes to the forefront, isn't it?
It is. They're very engaged in what's going on, and you're never short for an opinion around here. That's for sure. If you want one,
I know that's the.
We've got a lot. We've got a lot of opportunity in Ocean Springs. It's just, I think we're just at the, the launching pad of some great accomplishments, and the board of aldermen that were elected. I think we're all on the same page for a lot of the issues that are going to come forward before this board, and I think, I know we're going to do some great things for Ocean Springs.
Kenny, what I like about your past, obviously you born and raised in Ocean Springs, you went to Ocean Springs High, you went to Millsaps. You've been an entrepreneur, so you've been in different businesses. You've been in real estate for some time. And when you work in real estate as long as you have, you get a sense of what it takes to create value. We talked about that before. When you think about the increasing value of land and homes in Ocean Springs, you're really kind of coming in at a time when things in that city are beginning to really take off. Do you get that sense as you enter into the mayor seat that, wow, this is a city that's really, really on fire?
It is on fire, Ricky, and the possibilities are limitless for us. Houses right now in Ocean Springs they're not on the market very long, and I'm telling you, record prices per square foot. It's unbelievable. People just want to be in Ocean Springs. They want to live in Ocean Springs. I think they like the walkable downtown, and the golf cart transportation has helped in a lot of ways, specifically in parking downtown. It's helped to give us a few extra parking spaces. But, we see people in golf carts all over town, and you can get to downtown pretty much from anywhere in Ocean Springs. Well, obviously anywhere that the speed limit's 30 miles an hour or less, but which is probably 80% of the roads in Ocean Springs. So that's been a nice added transportation mode for us.
Well, we'll get into some specific things about, kind of what's top of mind for you as we go into that. We'll get there in just a second. But do you find yourself walking down the road, like let's just say you're just walking down Government Street, or you can name the street, and you're passing people along the way. Some of them are from Ocean Springs, some of them are just visitors. But do you, as you're doing that, do you have a sense of pride that you now have an opportunity through the purpose that you have as mayor to just be a part of the history of this great city? Do you actually think in that way?
I was thinking about that. Matter of fact, yesterday, back when I was in civics class, and different things you thought about. And I've always been fascinated and interested in politics. But, I was thinking to myself, wow, here I am. I'm the mayor. Who would have thought that, 40 years ago? Well, actually, 55 years ago. But it's really neat. Rick, you know me, I'm not kind of person that brags or boasts, or, I like to kind of stay, under the radar a lot of times, but it's gotten a little bit more difficult to go to the grocery store these days.
I can only imagine. I have a sense of that doing this show, but to be a mayor in your city and everyone has something. Either they want to tell you something, or they want to tell you what they need, or they want to tell you, that's just the way it works. And you don't go into a job like that not realizing that. You don't go to a job like that not being energized by that. This opportunity to bring people into the process, so that, as I've often said, the more voices you have in a decision-making process in the democracy of a city, the better the decisions are going to be. I mean, it may not make everybody happy, but at the end of the day, you're someone who's going to listen, aren't you?
Yes, I do. And that's I try to build a consensus. I try to get all the information I can gather from everyone. I've always said, throughout this campaign, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room, but I want to have people who are smart in their field around me, so that we can make good decisions together. I'm definitely a we person, so.
We're talking to the mayor-elect of the city of Ocean Springs, Kenny Holloway. Another Holloway. People are going to start calling you AJ just by accident, because they're going to think about that. That's how they're going to remember your name. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Kenny.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. In the next segment, actually, we're going to be talking with Mayor-elect of the city of Pass Christian, Jimmy Rafferty. And when you think about the Rafferty family, you can't help but think about places like Pass Christian and maybe some areas of Hancock County. They go back so long and make so many contributions to that city over the many years. You think about the Holloway family, Kenny. I mean, come on now. I mean, you have AJ over all those years, and now you have you, Kenny Holloway, as the mayor-elect of the city of Ocean Springs. Has that ever happened before, for a matter of fact? Have you ever had two brothers that were mayors of separate cities?
I don't know, Ricky. I'd like to, I'm going to do some research, though. I'm going to try to find that out because it's unique, obviously.
Yeah.
AJ did such a fabulous job in Biloxi for such a long time. And, not having him with me through this process, I thought many times, God, I wish AJ was here, because I'd like to bounce this off of him and how would he handle this situation and so forth. Obviously AJ wasn't a man of a lot of words. People would come out of his office and they would say, I just don't know what he's thinking. He won't say anything. And I would tell him, I'd say, that's because he's not ready to answer you. He's just not ready. And that's something that I'm going to try to do much better myself is just, weigh all the possibilities, all the particular outcomes, and make good informed decisions.
Yeah, I had a long friendship with AJ and knew him well. I did know of him, though, as you just sort of elaborated to just a second ago, but when AJ decided, when he made up his mind was pretty much set. Now, you could maybe turn him, but it was not going to be easy. Once he did his homework and made his decision, he moved on, and he made a lot of smart decisions along the way. Like one that really comes to mind is that decision to spend all that money on that insurance before Katrina. Yeah. And literally a transformative decision that really changed the course of history for Biloxi, didn't it?
It did. That business interruption insurance was unique to, I don't think there was another city on the coast that had put that policy in place. But that gave them some instant cash, right after the storm where they could start, cleaning streets and getting things sort of back to order.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. So tomorrow's your big day. Tomorrow won't be mayor-elect anymore. It'll be Mayor Holloway. So talk to me about when you go into office, what's the number one thing on your list? Well,
Ricky, and we've been working on this, some of the directors at City Hall already. We've got it's an old city. It's an aging infrastructure. We've got water and sewer issues, and that's going to be number one on the list. There's tons of money in Jackson for this American Rescue Plan. It's all designated for long-term infrastructure projects, and so we've identified right now around $30 million of immediate needs. So that's where we're going to be heading. We've got a pool of money. We're going to hope that the county participates with us, and I believe they will. We have a great working relationship with the county. And then we're going to Jackson to try to get the rest of it. So we've got a plan in place right now, and then we're going to do an infrastructure study for the next 15 years on growth and where the growth is going to occur, because it's not pretty work, but it has to be done. That's the basic, utility that the citizens deserve from their city.
It really is. And in the case of Ocean Springs, the downtown area of Ocean Springs survived Katrina, whereas most of the other downtowns did not. And as a result of that, they were able to get just tremendous amounts of money to restore and upgrade their infrastructure. I know some of that happened in Ocean Springs as well, but certainly not to the extent that it would happen in a place like Biloxi, for example. No. So the infrastructure needs $30 million, big deal, needs to be done, and it is really the big enabler for other for other economic development that's going to take place.
Exactly.
There's the other pool of money I talk about a lot on Coast Vue is the BP money, the opportunity to supplement private investment and transformative projects. There's probably going to be some. I know that Ocean Springs has been in play for some money to this point, but there's probably going to be some opportunities to do some really big projects with allowing that money to make projects work where otherwise they may not have worked with private investment. You've been thinking about that one?
Yeah, we've got that parking garage that's going to be built.
Yes.
Zuber was instrumental in getting that money for Ocean Springs, and it's $8 million. So that's going to give us some help, parking downtown. There's several other things. We've looked at some land around downtown or on the beach that we might be able to purchase to increase our green space, and I got some other ideas, but I won't get too specific with that. But something that amenities for the citizens to enjoy.
So again, as you've been doing all this thinking about the city, one of the things you and I talked about before was the need for. We've had one of the cool things about Ocean Springs is the number of boutique hotels that have cropped up. So the Condries and Joe Cloy, we mentioned them and the work that they're doing, but you want a big hotel, and what additional thoughts have you given to that?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see us, go after a Courtyard Marriott or something like that, Hilton Garden Inn, where we've got 80 or 100 rooms. We've got a sports complex that's thriving. We're investing in some other sporting complexes around downtown to bring those up to speed. So, Fofo and I, we kid a lot together. He kind of kids about our millage, and I kid about his. He giving me a pipeline. And send some of that money over here to Ocean Springs for us. But we don't want all these people just to leave Ocean Springs when they lay their balls and bats down and go to Biloxi and not come back and spend some money. So I think that's key, especially tying in with the sports complex. And people when they come down and they're working with Ingalls, they don't mind staying in Ocean Springs and driving that 20 or 30 minutes over there in the morning for their meeting. So I think there's some opportunities for us there.
It's funny that I mentioned this a lot, that the amount of collaboration that's happening between coast mayors. You're competitive with each other to an extent, but you also recognize that if you can work together, especially on issues in Jackson or in Washington, if you can work together where you can work together, that you're going to have a much more unified voice. And, I think what I love about Fofo being in that position, and he didn't have to be mayor. He could have just rode off into the sunset. You didn't have to be mayor. You found your purpose and decided you wanted to do this as well. But you both understand, and I could say this for most of the mayors that I know. Billy Hughes certainly understands this, that what's good for you in the city of Ocean Springs is good for Biloxi. And what's great for Biloxi is good for the people in Ocean Springs. We didn't always think that way, Kenny. I'm just telling you.
No, we didn't always think that way, especially in Ocean Springs. We didn't think that way. We kind of put ourselves on an island, so to speak, in the mayor's office. And I don't agree with that one bit. I totally understand what you're saying. Heck, Billy Hughes and I were fishing at Hopedale about 3 weeks ago, and Fofo and I rode up to Hattiesburg for a deal for the governor. So, and then I went over to Fofo's victory party after the general election, and at the Slavonian Lodge, and hung out for a while. So yeah, Fofo and I have known each other for a long time. We used to play golf at the old Broadwater together. With all those cronies he hung out with, but and then his Fofo and my brother Donnie went to high school together, so they have a good relationship. Our families go back a long ways, and and Billy, Billy's just a great guy, and so knowledgeable in government with all of his experience. So.
I said, when I had Billy on for an hour-long session right at the beginning of when I developed Coast Vue, I said at the beginning that his time in the legislature, which is, I mean, really, if you go back, his knowledge of the interworkings of the legislature and how it works, it's complicated. Mm-hmm. Really uniquely positions him to be a really strong mayor. But on top of that, a great ally for you and Fofo and the others. Because if you really have a question about something interworking about how things happened in Jackson, boy, he's in a great position to be able to tell you more about that. That is for sure. Hey, listen, we're running out of time, and we're going to stay in touch with each other. But why don't you take the final word?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here today. You and I have been friends for a long time and various civic adventures together. But I'm thrilled. I'm humbled. I'm happy. I'm eager to go to work. Somebody asked me the other day, he said, "Are you nervous?" I said, "I'm not nervous. I just, there's just so many things to do and get your hands wrapped around. I'm just ready to go to work with the Board of Aldermen. The city of Ocean Springs deserves it, and they expect us to do a good job, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do. You're
ready to roll up your sleeves, and tomorrow you get to start rolling them up. So good luck to you, Kenny. We'll stay in touch, buddy.
Thank you, Ricky.
Mayor-elect, soon to be mayor of the city of Ocean Springs tomorrow. Enjoyed that conversation very much. When we come back, we'll have Jimmy Rafferty. See you after this break.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And,
Wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed that conversation with Mayor-elect Kenny Holloway and wish him all the luck in the world as he goes into that new seat and tackles, making Ocean Springs the best it can possibly be. It'll be fun to stay in touch with him as we go forward. We'll have Jimmy Rafferty, the mayor-elect from Pasture Shan, here in just a second. Hey, before we got any further, I wanted to share something that's been in the news the last couple of days. Facebook actually hit $1 trillion in market cap. If you forgot what that really is, market capitalization is actually the main business term. Market cap is just shortened version of that, but you get it by taking the number of outstanding shares of a company. So when someone goes and buys stock, there's available stock for the public. They buy that stock and they take the entire number of outstanding shares and they multiply that times the current market price. So what happened is Facebook actually got a favorable ruling in an antitrust case, and what happened as a result of that is it made its stock go up, over 4%, and that's what brought it to what is the $1 trillion club. Big tech dominates the $1 trillion club. As a result of Facebook hitting $1 trillion market cap, they're now with Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google's parent company, Alphabet. I want to point out, though, by the way, that this case is not over with, because essentially what the judge said is that the FTC did not do a good job of detailing why they felt that Facebook's practices are monopolistic. In fact, what will happen, I think, is you'll see the FTC go back and provide some more details. You have 48 states and territories that have joined the two lawsuits that are alleging antitrust practices. And, we'll see. We also have Congress. And Congress, it looks like Congress is primed to pass some extremely restrictive antitrust laws, which is going to, I think, create some more opportunities for us to focus on big tech. Look, I have a big issue because, I have said before that Facebook has this incredibly innovative ability to target ads, but they use that ad targeting capability to determine our news feeds. And that's a problem. There are incredible unintended consequences that come from that have been a real threat to our society, to our democracy. And I think it needs to be reined in. And I think they've got a tiger by the tail, and they honestly don't know what to do with it. So we'll watch the turn of events as it relates to the antitrust challenges of Facebook and maybe some other companies before it's over with. And I'll keep you in tune with that. So before we say anything else, let's bring in Jimmy Rafferty, the new mayor-elect of the city of Pass Christian. He took the seat that opened up when Mayor Chipper McDermott finally retired after a number of years. And without any further ado, let me just say good morning, Jimmy. How are you?
Doing fine. Thanks a lot for having me, Ricky.
I'm glad to have you. Okay, so as I mentioned to you, you and I didn't know each other, but I've known your family forever. The Rafferty family is sort of synonymous with that part of the coast. Chipper had been around for a long time. He was a terrific mayor, and you get it, as in most of the cities along coastal Mississippi, you get to do the sort of orderly handoff of the baton. Does it feel like you're drinking from a fire hose these days?
It does, because of the fact that I have no political experience at all. I've been in human resources my entire career throughout the world, in New York, Hong Kong, and so forth, but no political experience at all. But fortunately, Chipper has been mayor for 16 years. And he has been, working very closely with me to ensure an orderly transition.
Well, that's so good to hear. I would say of Chipper that he was one of the most passionate mayors on the coast, because when he became mayor in Pass Christian, not long after Katrina, the city still had a lot of challenges, and he was a fighter, wasn't he? I mean, he just fought for attention and for resources, and he was so passionate, as I'm sure you're passionate. But just reflecting for a bit on Chipper, we were lucky to have him in that moment, weren't we?
Well, very much so, because, I'm going to have some very big shoes to fill, because, there's no one who has as much energy as Chipper, and he is a fighter. But then again, I think everything that I'm hoping to do is going to leverage off of all of the great work that he's done.
So you take office tomorrow. Now we'll talk about how you plan to leverage your 35 years of global business experience and all the other things that you want to do to make the city a better place. But let's kind of take a step back for a second. Tell me sort of what your path was. What brought you to New York? How did you get into global business dealings? Let's talk about that just a bit.
Well, I was working for the Whitney Bank in New Orleans, and went up and visited New York in early 1987. And Michael Milken made $650 million. And I thought if I could go up there and make a fraction of that, I would do quite well. Well, I went up there, thinking I would be an investment banker, and that didn't quite pan out. But I got an opportunity to go to work for Goldman Sachs, starting out as a compensation analyst. Worked my way up in New York, and then got promoted to VP. And then they sent me to Hong Kong for 2 years, during which time I opened up their offices in Beijing, Shanghai, and Seoul. So, I have a lot of global HR experience, and what HR in essence is, it's bringing people together. I spent roughly my first 10 years in the financial services industry, then the next 10 years in the pharmaceutical industry, worked for a pharmacy in Uptown, which became Pfizer, and then Novartis, opened up Novartis's R&D facility in Shanghai, spent a lot of time in Switzerland, negotiated with labor unions in Vienna, Austria, so a lot of experience. And then returned back to the coast in roughly 2014. My wife and I renovated a home here in Pass Christian, which is my hometown. My grandfather was even the town mayor back in 1936 here in town. And so a big legacy in town. And unfortunately, I lost my wife to cancer a couple of years ago, and I've been looking for a purpose. And with Chipper retiring, it was just a perfect opportunity to see how I can give back. And I've been very excited. It's just amazing, the team that I managed to get behind me. And it was just an unbelievable grassroots effort.
Well, first of all, let me acknowledge first, send my condolences for the loss of your wife. But from challenges like that, people can find what their purpose is, and I want to congratulate you on, being a first-time political person. I mean, to say, okay, I'm going to go from this world that I came from, and I'm going to run to be the mayor of the city I love. And I congratulate you for finding that place. And I Jimmy, it's going to be probably one of the most exciting things you've ever done, and one of the most, wonderful cities in coastal Mississippi. You probably see it that way, don't you?
Yes. Well, of course, born and raised here. moved away, got great experience, and then, a large part of my career, I couldn't wait to move back, and then when I had the opportunity to come back, and what's been so amazing is just engaging, with people out in the community. And I've been engaging, with every part of the community, the Black community, the Vietnamese community, and so forth, because one of my major objectives and one of the things I'm most proud of is seeing how we can make Pass Christian a much more inclusive place to live, work, and play. And what I'd like to do is to set the right sort of example, percolate it up and percolate it out. Because as I said in a number of my campaign literatures that was sent out to people in town, was I'm a firm believer in conservatism with courtesy. And that's really what I'm all about.
I think that's such a great message. And, it's a shame. And you and I talked about this a little bit when we spoke by phone before the election. And that is that we live in a world where everyone is so divided. Yeah. And if you're a Republican, you're supposed to, believe these certain things. And if you're a Democrat, you're supposed to believe these certain things, when in fact, most Americans are somewhere in the middle. Most Americans can have conservative values when it comes to things like business practices and things like that. That doesn't mean that they still can't believe in inclusiveness. That still doesn't mean they're not compassionate people that really want to bring people in to the tent so that they can have a voice in their community. And I look forward to watching you as you go forward with that goal in a way that is hopefully not polarizing, that is truly about finding that middle ground that people can be included in. And I remember you talking to me about that on the phone, and you were very passionate about that, and you still are, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so. Last week, I had a number of senior Black leaders over to my house, and they said, this is the first time a white mayor has ever done that, invited Black people into their home. And tonight I'm going to one of their homes tonight to meet with a group. So I think that's what it's all about. I want to hear, what their concerns are. But what I want is I just don't want to hear complaints. I want to hear, what the issues are, but also give me some solutions. And let's work together. Let's form a partnership, because that's how we're going to get things done. Because we have a lot of challenges here in the past. We're only 6 miles long and 1 mile wide. And a lot of the city is in a flood zone. And unfortunately, a lot of that city is in the predominantly Black areas. So we got to find a way to be able to develop those areas. So that's one of the things I'm going to do, is get in and see if we can find some ways to develop those areas.
We're talking to Mayor-elect Jimmy Rafferty for the city of Pass Christian. He becomes mayor tomorrow. When we come back, I want to talk just a little bit more about your career, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the things that you're hoping to accomplish as mayor. So when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Jimmy Rafferty.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever, with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. Look, there are so many amazing cities along coastal Mississippi. We are so lucky. Each has its own unique sense of place, and it's the collection of those communities that make coastal Mississippi as an entity such a wonderful place to live, work, and play, and visit. I mean, people love to come here. And we'll be talking a lot about those cities as we continue our conversation with mayors over the next several weeks. But in the case of Jimmy Rafferty, the mayor-elect for the city of Pass Christian, who takes office tomorrow, you know, one of the things that occurs to me, Jimmy, when we think about Pass Christian from this point forward, I think some people are going to have to reprogram their brains not to immediately say Chipper. I mean, because Chipper and Pass Christian have become sort of synonymous. Has anyone called you Chipper yet?
Not Chipper, but as I mentioned earlier, I just have some large shoes to fill because Chipper was about as accommodating as any mayor. And almost everyone in town had his cell phone number and they could contact him at any time. And that's the kind of person he was. And of course, you know, I'm going to have some challenges moving into that kind of role, but I also see some opportunities.
Hey, so I mentioned before we went to break, I wanted to mention just a couple of quick things. Your time at Goldman Sachs, for example, back in the day when I was leading some projects for Knight Ridder, the company that used to own the Sun Herald, we spent some time at Knight Ridder Financial up in New York and had the opportunity to go to the trading floor of Goldman Sachs and spend some time there and sort of get a sense of how they used information, et cetera. I have two brother-in-laws. You said you worked for Novartis. I have two brother-in-laws that today work as national managers for Novartis today. Man, that's a powerhouse company, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then again,
unbelievable global company. You know, they sell, you know, wherever the mail goes, Novartis has a presence.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. That the global aspect of what they do is incredible, and the amount of money they spend on R&D is incredible. But you really had the opportunity to travel the world and spend time in so many different places, and that perspective really helps you, doesn't it? When you come back, even though you're coming back home, it gives you sort of a broader view of what is possible and how Pass Christian fits into the bigger picture, and that's helpful to you as a leader, isn't it?
Of course, just the fact that I've lived outside of this area, I just think that, there are different ways of doing things. It's not as though you just grew up doing one thing one way. There are other ways of doing it. Plan A doesn't work, to try plan B, and you keep going till you find a solution. And I'm a firm believer that there's a solution to every problem. You just got to keep looking until you find it.
There is a solution to every problem, and unfortunately, too often in public life, we don't search for that solution. It ends up becoming sort of a loggerhead moment. But hopefully, you and your ability to sort of reach out and include people in the conversation, so that the thing about local, whether you're talking local or nationally, is that the democratic process is about people being included in the process, and the more voices you have, the better the outcome is going to be. At some point, though, the mayor and the people who work around you and the council are going to have to make decisions, and that's sort of the way this works. And it helps to have someone like you that has that perspective. I know it does. Hey, listen, as you've been drinking from the fire hose and you get ready to take office tomorrow, what is like number one on your list that you want to accomplish?
Well, they have parts of Pass Christian that are still undeveloped 16 years after Katrina. In downtown Pass Christian, we have a lot of empty space, and that's not doing anyone any good. We're not getting any taxes and so forth. So the first thing I would like to do is to develop very nice housing in downtown Pass Christian. And then what that would do is that would then enable people to walk into town, service our existing local businesses, and then attract in new small businesses. Pass Christian over the years has been one of the most premier residential communities on the coast. This is dating back to the 1800s, where we had these big, Victorian hotels and all. It was a big place for vacationers from New Orleans to settle. And so we want to keep it that way. And what I'm saying, what I'm envisioning would be, it's called measured growth. And we want to have, we need more people though to service those businesses, but we want to attract in additional small businesses to keep that sort of, the feeling the way we have it right now, that Pass Christian is a great place to live.
Yeah, too often people think of maintaining a sense of place means you can't change. But if you take the point of view that you can't change, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you could really meet some big challenges financially and otherwise in the future. So I think the cities that are most successful in coastal Mississippi have a good sense of what their identity is. They have a good sense of what their sense of place is. And then they're able to say, okay, we're going to develop within that context, because development is key to our success. And I think that's going to be key going forward. If you go into downtown Pass Christian now, such a walkable, beautiful community, and you're right, it has always had this reputation as a residential community. Jimmy, we're going to continue to have conversations as we go forward, but I'm going to give you a chance in this less than minute we have left to have a last word.
Well, here again, we just need to develop these downtown areas, which will then expand our tax base. And then that will allow us to invest in the other parts of the town. As I mentioned earlier, we have some areas of the town that need to be developed. They're just in flood-prone areas. So, they have FEMA regulations and so forth. But, I'm determined to work with, the landowners, developers, and so forth to see if we can come up with a solution.
I know you will. Hey, listen, good luck to you. And we'll stay in touch. I look forward to talking to you in maybe a month or so and just see how things are going. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you very much, and the best of luck to you as well.
You bet, buddy. Thank you very much. This has been Mayor-elect Jimmy Rafferty from the city of Pass Christian. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.